Welcome to another edition of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. Well, today, by popular request by quite a few of our followers, I'm going to show you how to make city chicken. This is a Polish-American dish. And for the people in Poland who are my followers who say, oh, this isn't really Polish, well, you're right, it's Polish-American. And I challenge you to try making this because this simply will be one of the favorites. It's made with pork, sometimes pork and veal, but nevertheless, it's something great that you should give a try. I'm going to have sides of some boiled potatoes and some frozen mixed vegetables, nothing special, but this is Polish American, so it's going to be how I would make it for myself. We're going to make it two ways, one way with gravy and one way without. So there are actually two ways of making this, and I hope you enjoy both ways. Now here are your ingredients. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bread each individual piece of meat here. And for that, I've got an egg wash. It's just eggs and some water, and it's mixed together. I've got some flour, and I've got some breadcrumbs. I'm using a mixture of panko and regular plain breadcrumbs. I don't have any seasoning in this because realistically, I don't want any seasoning. I just want to taste the pork and the breadcrumbs when all said and done. So now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take all of our pork and we're going to put it in our eggs. Then I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them in the flour. And I'm going to mix them real good in the flour. Then I'm going to put them back in the eggs. I'm going to mix them all real good again in the eggs. And then I'm going to put them in my breadcrumbs. I'm going to mix them all up really good, making sure each individual piece is fully coated with these breadcrumbs. Now, fairly simply, all we're going to take is we're going to take our wooden skewers and we're going to put the meat right through each one. We're going to first heat our oil up to medium high. We want it to be somewhere between 350 and 375 degrees. Once we see our oil simmering, then we're going to drop each one of these in and we're going to brown all the sides. Now they say don't crowd the pot, but I'm okay with doing that because we're just browning. We're not going to cook thoroughly through. These will not be fully cooked. They'll still be raw on the inside when we're done browning them. Once they're browned, flip them over. Even though you've got two sides, you want to go all the way around. All four sides you want to be browned. Once they're fully browned on all four sides, we're going to put them to a paper towel lined plate just while we make our gravy. To make our gravy, we're going to put our heat on just medium, and I'm going to take and dump this out and just wipe it a little bit. So now that I have this wiped out, I'm going to add my butter. I'm going to start melting it. Turn the heat down a little bit more because we really don't want this to brown. And I'm going to whisk in my flour and we're going to make a roux. So now I'm using whole wheat flour, so my roux looks darker than normal to start off with. Normally it would be blonde, but I'm going to cook this for probably about another minute just to make sure all the rawness of the flour is out. Next, I'm going to stir in my mushrooms and cook these a little bit with the roux. Now I'm going to slowly whisk in my liquid, which is my chicken broth. I'm going to turn the heat up on high. I'm going to whisk in some salt and whisk in some pepper. And I'm going to continue cooking and bring this to a boil until it thickens. Now this has come to a boil and thickened to where I want it, so I'm going to turn my heat off and I'm going to taste. And the flavor is exactly where I want it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this gravy into a baking dish. Then I'm going to take some of these city chicken and I'm going to place them right in the gravy. And these will be our gravy city chicken. For the rest of the city chicken, I put some nonstick spray on my baking pan, and I'm going to sit these right on top of the baking pan. And I'm going to place the cover on my baking dish with the gravy city chicken. And both of these we're going to put in the preheated oven at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. So for those of you who don't know what city chicken is or when it was created or why it was even made, it stems back to the Great Depression. The polls and it's undetermined exactly which city, but it is either Cleveland, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Philadelphia. One of those three cities is when the first city chicken was made. And because the price of chicken was so high and rarity, and you could hardly find any beef, what the Poles did is they used pork, like I'm using, and they cubed it. And what they did is they duplicated the cheapest cut of chicken, which was the chicken leg, and made it like a southern fried chicken leg. That's how it became city chicken, and that's why it became city chicken. So it's been both a half hour, and the internal temperature of the chicken is over 165, so we're ready to take it out. And so we're ready to plate. I'm going to take one of these bigger skewers. I'm going to stick it right off to the side. Then I'm going to take one of these gravy cooked skewers. I'm going to stick it right next to it. I'm going to add some of my potatoes. I'm going to add some of these mixed vegetables. And I'm going to sprinkle a little parsley over the potatoes. Add a little more mushroom gravy here over the gravy, city chicken. And that's all there is to making a great Polish-American city chicken. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. I hope you give this a try, especially you Poles from Poland, directly from Poland, or living there now, or in Germany even. Give this a try. I know you're going to love it. Smacznego. Buon appetito. Bye.